Have you ever wondered why some of your neighbors are already harvesting huge, delicious vegetables while your seeds are barely starting to sprout? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about a highly time-sensitive topic. We are looking at exactly what you need to sow urgently at the end of March 2026. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to unlock a harvest so massive it will completely blow your mind. Here's a crazy thought. Waiting until the warm days of May to start your garden is actually the biggest mistake you can make. It contradicts everything we are usually taught about gardening. I'm going to reveal a secret about the cold weather that will change how you grow food forever. Before we dive in, I want you to tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you think frost is the ultimate enemy of a young garden, or is it a secret weapon? Let me know right now. To truly understand why the end of March 2026 is such a magical window, we have to look at how nature actually wakes up. Historically, traditional farmers did not wait for perfect sunny days to start working the earth. They watched the signs of the melting snow and the very first thawing of the soil. There is a crucial transition period that happens right at the end of March. The air might still feel freezing to you, but deep down, the soil biology is just beginning to activate. The ground is loaded with natural moisture from melting winter snow and early spring rains. This creates an incredibly unique, damp environment that certain ancient plant varieties absolutely crave. If you miss this brief window, the soil dries out, the sun gets too intense, and these specific cold weather crops will simply refuse to grow properly. Now, let us break down the exact seeds you need to get into the dirt right now. Let us start with a true garden champion. I am talking about cold, hardy, leafy greens, specifically spinach and arugula. Many people believe a massive myth about these plants. They think spring is simply too cold and that a sudden frost will kill the fragile seedlings. This is completely false. In fact, waiting too long is the real mistake. Spinach seeds actually germinate best when the soil is incredibly cool. If you wait until May, the soil gets way too warm. The plants will panic. They will instantly bolt, grow tall flowers, and turn incredibly bitter. Picture this bright illustration. You walk out to your garden in early April. There is a light, sparkling layer of morning frost on the ground. But right there in your garden bed, bright green spinach leaves are standing tall. They are perfectly crisp and sweet. Frost actually makes them taste significantly better. It forces the plant to produce natural sugars to protect its internal cells. So, at the end of March 2026, you need to get these seeds into the dirt immediately. Just scatter them directly on the soil surface. Cover them with a tiny layer of compost. Water them in. In just a few weeks, you will be eating the freshest salads of your entire life. You will never want to buy wilted, store-bought spinach ever again. Now let us move on to the fastest growing vegetable in your entire garden. We are talking about the humble radish. Radishes are the absolute perfect crop to sow at the end of March 2026. There is a very common myth that radishes are incredibly spicy and tough. People think that is just how they naturally taste. But let me debunk that right now. Radishes only get spicy and woody when they are grown in hot weather or without enough consistent water. When you plant them in the cool, damp soil of late March, something magical happens. They grow incredibly fast, they stay perfectly crisp, and they develop a mild, sweet flavor that will totally surprise you. Let me give you a great example of how to use them. Radishes are the ultimate companion plant. They sprout in just 3 to 5 days. You can plant them right in the same row as your slower seeds. For instance, plant them directly with your carrots. The radishes will pop up instantly and neatly mark the row for you. By the time the carrots need room to grow, you will have already harvested and eaten the radishes. It is like getting 2 full crops from the exact same space. Just drop the seeds about 1 inch apart. Give them plenty of water. In less than 30 days, you will be pulling bright red snacks out of the cold earth. The third absolute must-plant crop for late March is sugar snap peas. These are a vertical climbing vegetable that will completely transform your spring garden. Here's a massive misconception about peas. Many beginner gardeners think you have to wait until all danger of frost has passed before planting anything that grows tall. That is completely wrong. Peas actually despise the summer heat. If you wait too long, the vines will wither and die before producing any pods at all. March 2026 is your golden window. The absolute best secret is to pre-soak your pea seeds in a glass of water for 24 hours before planting. This jumpstarts the germination process beautifully. Now, imagine this beautiful setup in your backyard. You build a simple trellis out of some old bamboo sticks, and gardening string. You plant your swollen pea seeds right at the base. Even if it snows the very next day, those peas are doing hard work underground. They are actually pulling nitrogen right out of the air and fixing it into the soil. They are fertilizing your garden for free while they grow. Once the weather warms up slightly, they will shoot up that trellis like magic. You will be snacking on sweet, crunchy pea pods right off the vine by early May. They are so incredibly delicious. Next on our urgent March planning list are early spring carrots. Carrots are sweet, highly nutritious, and incredibly rewarding to pull from the earth. But they also come with a lot of frustration for new gardeners. Let us address the biggest myth about growing carrots. People think you need perfectly sifted, incredibly deep sandy soil to grow them. They think a single tiny pebble will give them twisted, ugly carrots. While loose soil certainly helps, the real secret to success is actually consistent surface moisture. Carrot seeds are tiny. They can take up to 3 long weeks to germinate. If the soil surface dries out for even one single afternoon, the seeds will die. That is why planting them in late March is brilliant. The heavy spring rains do the watering for you. Here's a genius illustration of how to guarantee your success. You make a shallow trench. You sprinkle your tiny carrot seeds mixed with a little bit of dry coffee grounds so you can easily see them. You cover them lightly with dirt. Then, you place a flat wooden board directly on top of the soil over the seeds. This locks in the moisture 100%. You check under the board every few days. The moment you see tiny green sprouts, you remove the board. You will have a perfect solid row of delicious carrots. Moving right along, we arrive at our 5th highly urgent crop. It is time to talk about sweet, earthy beets. Beets are one of the most misunderstood vegetables in the entire world. The biggest myth surrounding beets is that you plant one seed and you get exactly one plant. That is simply not true. What you think is a beet seed is actually a tiny, dried fruit capsule. Inside that bumpy little capsule, there are actually 3 to 5 individual seeds. This means when you plant one, a whole cluster of plants will sprout. If you do not know this, your beets will crowd each other out and never form a bulb. But late March 2026 is the perfect time to use this secret to your advantage. You plant these strange little clusters in the cool soil. When they sprout, you will see a bunch of seedlings fighting for space. Here is the brilliant part. You carefully pull out the extra seedlings, leaving just the strongest one. But do not throw those extras away. Those are baby beet greens. They are incredibly tender, vibrant red, and taste amazing in a fresh spring salad. By planting early, the main beetroot has weeks of cool weather to grow fat and sweet. The cold soil actually concentrates their natural sugars. Fresh spring beets roasted in the oven are pure garden candy. Now we absolutely must discuss a staple ingredient for almost every meal you will ever cook. We are talking about onions. Specifically, growing onions from seed right now in late March. A lot of people just buy those little dry onion bulbs from the hardware store, which are called sets. The popular myth is that growing onions from actual seed is too difficult, takes way too long, and is only meant for professional farmers. This is a complete lie. Growing onions from seed is much cheaper, gives you incredibly unique varieties, and they store much longer in your pantry. Because onions are extremely cold tolerant, you can sow them directly outside right now. Let me share a fantastic method you can try this year. It is called the multi-sowing technique. Instead of planting one tiny seed every 4 inches, you drop 4 or 5 seeds into one single hole. As they grow, they will push against each other and form a beautiful cluster of medium-sized onions. Imagine harvesting a tight little bouquet of fresh green and purple onions all at once. They look absolutely gorgeous. By starting them in the freezing temperatures of March, they develop incredibly deep, strong root systems. When the long days of summer finally arrive, those strong roots will pump massive amounts of energy into the bulbs. For our 7th essential crop, we are looking at the absolute king of the cold weather garden. I am talking about dinosaur kale, also known widely as lacinato kale. Kale has a somewhat controversial reputation in the kitchen. The biggest myth is that all kale is tough, chewy, and impossibly bitter. People think you have to drown it in heavy dressing just to choke it down. But let me tell you a wonderful secret. The intense bitterness only happens when kale is grown in the sweltering heat of summer. When you plant kale seeds in late March, you are changing the game entirely. The cool spring temperatures and those light late frosts work a literal miracle on the leaves. The cold breaks down the complex starches in the plant and turns them into pure sugar. Early spring kale is so tender and sweet, you can eat it raw standing right there in the garden. Imagine growing giant, prehistoric-looking blue-green leaves that stretch 2 feet into the air. They look stunning. A great trick is to simply remove the thick center stem, chop the leaves finely, and massage them with a little bit of olive oil and fresh lemon juice. You will create the best salad you have ever tasted. Plus, by planting in March, your kale will grow large and strong long before the destructive cabbage moths wake up. Finally, we reach our eighth and perhaps most beautiful urgent planting for March 2026. We are talking about rainbow Swiss chard. This magnificent plant is a visual masterpiece and a total culinary delight. The common myth about garden greens is that you harvest them once, the plant dies, and you have to start the whole process all over again. Swiss chard completely destroys that sad myth. It is what we proudly call a cut-and-come-again crop. You plant the seeds in the cold, wet soil of early spring. Within a few short weeks, you will see the most incredible colors emerging from the dirt. The stems look like they are glowing in neon pink, bright yellow, rich orange, and deep red. Picture a gorgeous row of these glowing stems catching the morning sunlight in your backyard. It looks much more like an expensive ornamental flower garden than a simple vegetable patch. Here's how you harvest it for maximum yield. You never pull the whole plant out of the ground. You simply take a sharp knife and cut the largest outer leaves right at the base. The plant will completely ignore this and just keep pushing out fresh new leaves from the center. If you sow these seeds now, you will be harvesting fresh, delicious chard every single week from May all the way until November. It is amazing. So there you have it. The ultimate turning point for your 2026 garden is happening right now. While everyone else is sitting inside waiting for May, you are going to be out there planting seeds that thrive in the cold. You are going to bypass the summer pests, dodge the extreme heat, and harvest incredibly sweet, nutrient-dense food weeks before anyone else. That is the real power of planting at the end of March. I want to thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me today. If you want to keep learning how to master your garden, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Please leave a like on this video so it can help other gardeners, and drop a comment below. I want to know, which of these 8 secret seeds are you going to plant first this week?